Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host for today's broadcast, Insanely 13, as we are preparing to get underway for our 22nd round of the XRL X2 Championship here at Abu Dhabi, located in the Middle East. Earlier today, we had an X3 race where we crowned a new X3 champion, as Ferrari once again steals the driver's title with their main driver, but now there's still a driver and constructors championship up for grabs now. Throughout the season, it has been an AlphaTauri of XRL Pelli who has led the championship most of the season. However, he has fallen off in performance over the last few weeks, and it has been Sebastian in the Alpine that has begun surging recently. Things could get very interesting today as we prepare to get underway here at Abu Dhabi. Alright, here we are as we load onto the circuit. 16 drivers will be partaking in today's race. So with 15 spots up to grabs for Q2, it looks like this will be a moderately low stakes fight here. Curious to see who the first person is going to be out on the track, and I believe it's going to be the Haas of SRD Shredder. Yes, it is. He has a habit of trying to be the first person out on track at all times. Only Haas in today's field. Mathematically speaking, I do believe Shredder is still within title contention for the X2 Championship. However, it's very unlikely he's going to take it unless Sebastian and Pelli both failed to take home any points in the remainder of the season, while Shredder has to basically win the rest of the races this season. Other drivers already out. Arctic Prodigy and the Ferrari Mantic Meerkat is representing the Alfa Romeo team. Alfa Romeo lost their lead in the Manufacturers' Championship last week. They desperately need some turnaround. Mantic Meerkat reserving for him today. This will be the best help they could possibly get. Also of note, both Alpines are ranked today. Sebastian and X sits the spot. They have the lead in the Manufacturers' Championship, and if they continue to perform while the Alfa Romeo team continues to not perform, basically, it is a high likelihood they can lock up the Manufacturers' title starting next week. The gap at the top of the championship is 23 points in Pelli's favor right now. Swiester, who ran in the X3 race but had some connectivity issues and ended up crashing out midway through, says he's gotten those connectivity issues fixed. He is now the one in the McLaren, joined BRT Jacob. Jacob, a driver who is a former X1 competitor. Not very active early on. here in Q1. Arctic Prodigy crosses the line. We're going to go ahead and run on board side. See what a lap is like on board with the Mercedes here on hard tire. So a spin in turn 2 for CMP Official. You saw it right here, folks. And that's going to compromise his first flyer lap. We'll end up right on board with someone else then for a flyer instead. Probably be this man here, Shikari. As he's now come out into the track. Moves aside to let Swayster by. But the first man to set a time, it looks like it's going to be Mantic Meerkat, as Shredder aborted on his initial lap. So Meerkat, who took pole position in the X3 race, will set the time that everyone has to run for here in X2 at the start of the first round of qualifying. AVS fan on an outlap right now. And Meerkat will set 126.822 on the hard tires. Arctic Prodigy will go to the top now. He has faster rubber, 24.969 on the softs. Next driver to keep an eye on will be Swayster, 1987. Didn't have a fantastic performance in qualifying earlier for the X3 race. Big twitch from the rear of that McLaren. And he will cross the line at the 126.019. As Shikari now begins his lap. Robbie Deasy and AVS fan both on outlaps now. And CMP Official coming into the pits. So we're going to ride on board with his teammate Robbie Deasy instead and see what a flying lap is like on the Mercedes with medium tires here at Yas Marina. And he invalidates right before the final corner. And this means that his next lap, well, he gets another shot at it at least, but he has burned through most of his ERS, so this is not looking like it'll be a good time. Meerkat retires at a 26.822. We'll ride on board with another driver here shortly. Is there anyone on softs? Alright, we'll ride on board with Zola then for a lap. So Zola goes 6th fastest, 127.164. Exits the spot on circuit right now on the soft tires. He's trying to get a lap in real quickly. His teammate Jabez John also in the middle of the circuit. He's just started his lap. He's on the mediums at the moment. So this could get really interesting because there are 16 drivers. I think a lot of people don't realize that there is a likelihood, not a guarantee, but there is a likelihood that some of these people on the mediums or hard tires will not be able to advance because there is one spot that's up for grabs. When I say up for grabs, it should mean there is one spot that will not advance by default. But right now, Arctic Prodigy is on the top of the 24.969. Now exits the spot, and the Alpine goes to the top, 24.650 for X. So X, here to give it to us. He didn't wait for us to get it on our own. He came and delivered it to us. He saw the top spot and he was like, knock, knock, open up the door, it's real. With that McLaren who's gone around right in front of the other Alpine, that is Swiester, I believe, who spun right in front of Jabez John. Is something wrong? Was it because of what I said? No. Cope and sieve, and dilate, and mold, in that order. Oh, and Mount Williams is around out of the final corner. And that, who was that? Was that Samuel Pedia? Yes, Samuel Pedia has spun out of the final corner. And he's nearly out of field. That was in the middle of a lap, and he has spun on his second lap. And he's going to have to nurse the car all the way around. There's not a whole lot of time for him left to get another proper lap in. This could get really interesting and bizarre here, to say the least. Meanwhile, this is BRT Jacob on the medium tires, trying to get a lap in. As I look at the grid, the one driver who's really at the most risk, and that is the Aston Martin. He's crashed out turn 1. That's AVS fan who is wrecked out of the first corner, and he's been on this set of hard tires for 4 laps, trying to get turned around. As Jacob goes to the top on medium tires of the 24.320. That's what happens when you have an X1 driver reserve in the X2 tier. Alright, an AVS fan finally underway. Torpedo in the Red Bull, in the middle of the lap right now. As they go down the first of the 2 back straightaways, Torpedo is one of the drivers on the mediums. Right now, if you're in the 25s, you're good. Honestly, if you're in the 26s, you might be good as well. For 54.323 for Torpedo at the end of Sector 2. Lots of yellow flags. A lot of drivers are just pulling over or running themselves out of fuel here. And because we have 16 spots, it's not like you can just go ahead and retire early for a lot of these people. There's not really a guarantee you'll be able to advance because a lot of drivers are running tires way slower. So they're kind of hamstringing their laps. No one's really in a position to retire and be safe. Pelly, Deasy, and Official still all have yet to set their laps. Deasy out of the final corner will set a 125.530. But it was dirty, so it does not count. Here comes Official. He spun earlier on his attempt. He's trying again, and he's still trying for it on the hard tires, interestingly enough. Oh, and he invalidates again in the final sector. That's the second time he's done it. And that would have been at 27. What of Pelly, who now begins his lap, your championship points leader, the man who has led the title most of the season. But for Pelly, it's the inverse for him, as it has been for Schumacher, who led the title for pretty much the entire season in the next 3. Schumacher has brought home almost every race on the on the podium. Pelly has walked off with the championship lead simply because all of his closest competitors have missed large amounts of races or have been outright banned from the series due to poor behavior. And now Pelly has a serious competitor at the end of this season, and he really needs to turn his performance around. 57.076 at the end of Sector 2. It's not looking very fast for Pelly, and that's a Mercedes that's gone off, and now Pelly's invalidated after that Mercedes of DZ spun. He saw the Mercedes of DZ and ended up swerving to avoid and ended up invalidating his lap. So 3 drivers, Pelly, DZ, and Official, all still have yet to set their laps. Oh, and this Pelly had an instant. Pelly might have had an instant. He's pulled way off, although he has recharged his DRS to his credit. Here comes CMP Official. He's nearly out of fuel, but he needs to get a lap in because there's less than 4 minutes left in the session. Don't invalidate this time. Come on, Official. He's pitting. DZ finally sets a time, but it's only a 1:48.071 after his spin. James John retires. He is confident with that 25.3, which is the 4th fastest time right now. Pelly in the middle of the lap. CMP Official is in the pits. Robbie DZ is the most likely driver to get dropped at the moment. But to DZ's credit, he is on track for another lap, but he just doesn't have very much ERS to work with at the moment. Samuel Pedia is the slowest of everyone who has put together a proper lap, and DZ very nearly lost it coming out of the chicane between the 2 back straightaways. DZ is down on time in the first 2 sectors, but he'll make some of that up here in Sector 3 if he just doesn't spin. Yeah, he keeps it straight this time. Pelly behind him on track, trying to get a lap in after invalidating his first run at. Pelly is low on fuel, so if he invalidates, this would go very, very poorly for him. 2.5 minutes left in the session. Out of the final corner comes DZ and Pelly. Pelly goes up to 3rd, 24.684, the power of soft tires. DZ goes up to 9th, 26.096. So Samuel Pedia on the mediums, 130.432 is now in the bubble, but he's already up by, it says, 4 seconds right now. So there's a lot more time for Samuel Pedia. If he goes fast enough, Sha'Carri could be, oh, and now Samuel spins! Samuel spins in the hotel section! He gets back underway, and the lap is still clean, but it's not like it's going to matter. He's still going to lose a chunk of time. He stays out on track, and will go for another run at by the looks of it. Sha'Carri is another wild card. He set his... an official retires in the pit, so that's over then. It's over. Sha'Carri is guaranteed to advance. Samuel Pedia is guaranteed to advance. And CMP Official is the man that will not make it out of the first round of qualifying. And in the end, only 5 drivers set laps on soft tires. Excess to Spot, Pelly, Arctic Prodigy, Sweester, and Shredder. So those drivers will all have very significant advantage going forward. They have not gone through all of their soft tires, but look at the drivers who set their times on the hards. AVS Fan, Mantic Meerkat, Sha'Carri, they only used a set of hard tires, so they could have a big advantage. All right, coming to the party right now is CMP Official. Official, go ahead, include your audio. A spin on your first lap is not any real ability to get a proper lap in, so you're going to start dead last. What was wrong with the car out there in Q1?
You just hate the game. Excuse me. That is literally it. I just hate the game. I've used the setup in Grand Prix mode, and it's been absolutely fine. I've had no issues with it at all whatsoever. Just going into quali, the first lap going out, well, the first flying lap, and it just let go for no apparent reason. I can't figure out why. All the throttle input was the same, the turning input was exactly the same as I've been doing for the past, 20 laps in Grand Prix mode, and it was fine. But for some reason it just went. And then, still going out again, and alright, try at least one more bite of the cherry, but just invalidated going into the second to last corner. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough one fighting from the back, but hopefully, mistakes will happen. up ahead and just got to try and avoid them and, yeah, pick up some places.
All right, that little section from turns 2, 3, and 4 has caught a lot of drivers in the X3 race. It's caused you to spin once as well. What's the best way to avoid crashing there?
Well, just literally, staying alert and just, I guess, coming off the throttle probably more than you need, because it's going to be one of those, like you said, it's going to catch a lot of drivers out that you think you're going to be able to take, X amount of speed into it, and then it turns out that it won't, because the rear will let go. I mean, especially if you're on a lower downforce out, which I will admit I am on. I am on the slightly lower downforce start, so maybe that had a little part to play in it as well. But like I said, Grand Prix mode's been fine, but yeah, it's going to be one of those. But good luck to the rest of the guys out there in qualifying, and yeah, obviously in the race, it's just going to be a recovery drive, so we'll just have to see how well we can do.
All right, well, good luck on that, mate. Starting dead last, but we've seen drives from back to the front before in X2. Maybe you can do something like that as well. So that brings it into our first round of qualifying here. Really bizarre, esoteric setup when it comes to tire choices. BRT Jacob on top of the 24.3 on medium tires, so it's very likely that Jacob is going to probably try and walk off with the pole position because he has a lot more speed in that car. Exits spot is the fastest of everyone on the softs, and on the hards is AVS Fan 96, who's fastest there. And Fan on the hards is just a bit less than 2 seconds off of Jacob's time, and only about a second and a half off of Exits Spot's time. All right, so 15 drivers fighting for 10 spots. And now you can't just sandbag on your tire choice as well. First driver out on track, same as it was last time, SRD Shredder in the Haas. So rumor is that AVS Fan maybe should not have done qualifying, and he will likely have to serve a qualifying ban this session. So he'll be starting 15th rather than 16th, but still, that will hurt him. It'll also take a little bit of pressure and strain off of some of the other drivers, though. As AVS Fan, he was on the hard tire compounds, the fastest of everyone on the hards, and now with him out of the way, that will open up the midfield a little bit more when it comes to qualifying here. So we're going to ride silently on board with SRD Shredder for his flying lap on the soft tires and see what this man can pull out. Still looking for his first win in X2. And Shredder spins his car in turn 2 and 3 in the middle of his first lap. It's still legal for the moment, but I have to be concerned about the number of tires that Haas team is going to have left. That's the second time he's had an instant like that. This also means that the priority is now going to go to the Alfa Romeo Meerkat, and he's on medium tires right now, interestingly enough. So we're going to ride on board instead with Jameis Dawn and see what a lap is like on board the second place in Drivers' Championship right now here around Yas Marina on proper, fresh, soft tires. So John invalidates his lap. And that's a Red Bull who is slow there in Sector 3. Is that Sha'Carri? Yes, it is. Sha'Carri extremely slow in Sector 3. And he'll bring his car into the pits. Only 4 drivers have set laps thus far in this session. Pelly is set up to be the next driver to come to the line to set a lap here. Shredder moves up to third now to 25.446. And now Pelly finally crosses the line with 24.166, so that puts your championship leader on top of the qualifying table for now. Meerkat's on a cooldown lap, and we believe Swister is as well. It looks like it will be BRT Jacob who is on top in Q1. I'm anticipating he's going to set a time of the 23s here. Yes, he does. 23.744. No one has anything for Jacob today, it seems. Air Max finally crosses with a 24.969. The next driver will be, I believe, Exis Spot. .483. So Samuel in the middle of his lap, as is Torpedo. Still, we've gone through almost half of the session. Only 8 of our drivers have set times. Alright, here comes Samuel out of the final corners now. And at number 93 Williams, Samuel will set a 124.346. That's good enough for third. Next one we'll watch will be Torpedo here. That black Red Bull looks absolutely fantastic under the lights here. Torpedo sits at 25.120 now. He's actually timed it to where he's going to give his teammate Shikari a bit of a draft potentially down the back straightaway. So that could help Shikari out a lot if he times it right. Which straight is he going to get a draft off? I don't think he's going to get it off of the first of the two straights. So, yeah, if Torpedo wants to help Shikari out, he's going to want to start laying back now. This will probably be it. He's a lot closer to that Red Bull this time. Not super close, but he will get a draft off of him going down the straight. This is it. This is where he'll get it now. Big toe. And that's exactly what Shikari needed. 53.349 at the end of Sector 2. And it's clean track ahead for the Red Bull now. Jay Bastion also farther up the track. He's in the middle of a lap and validated his attempt earlier. What can he do now? 124.977, that's good enough for 7th. Mantic Meerkat, who set his lap on the mediums earlier, is now on the bubble. And he has already reacted and thrown on a set of soft tires. Shikari coming to the line. 124.340, so that draft really helped him out. Zola is the only driver left who has not yet set a time. Meerkat is on the outside looking in. Arctic Prodigy, who was at the top early in Q1, now might get squeezed out of Q2 as he is on the bubble. Shredder also in the middle of another lap. Spun earlier on an attempt. He's running a very, very low downforce setup. Now Torpedo's been pushed down to the bubble. 125.120. Seems like if you're not in the 24s, you're not going to make it. And even then, 24s may not be enough. Jacob have a... Yo, my goodness. Jacob went back out onto the circuit, and he's wrecked the car, destroyed the front wing coming out of turn 3. And he'll have to make it all the way around the track before he can pit. Now, there's less than 5 minutes left, so while Jacob will have time to go for another lap, I don't know why he came out. And mind you, that was on his out lap as well. He had done nothing on these tires yet, and already they have a lot of damage and wear on them. All right, so now it goes to Zola. .853 at the end of Sector 1. We rode on board with him earlier in Q1 when he had hard tires. Now he's going to be on softs. I'm fully anticipating he's going to set time in the low to mid 24s. He told me post-race after the X3 event that he felt that he could have put down time in the 23s. Now it's time for him to put his money where his mouth is. Or as I like to say, put his mouth where his mouth is. Going down the second of the two back straightaways, and Shredder retires in the pits at 25.446. So Shredder says that, hey, there's no way for me to advance into the final round qualifying. I'm not going to waste any more soft tires. Torpedo is on the bubble with a 25.120. Arctic Prodigy is just 24 thousandths out from him. Swister and Zola also looking in, trying to figure out a way to get in. Track's relatively quiet right now. Zola and Prodigy are the only two cars on track, although it does look like there might be another vehicle coming down pit lane exit now. Zola will set a 24.603. That's good enough for 7th. Here comes Arctic Prodigy across the line. He goes 24.580, and Prodigy did that on medium tires. Incredible job by Prodigy. So now, James John, second in the championship, is out of the top 10, and Air Max is on the bubble. Air Max already responding. He's coming out onto the track. Robbie Deasy is already out onto the circuit. Samuel Pedia is out on track. So it looks like there's going to be a bit of some crazy rushing onto the circuit here at the closing moments of this section of qualifying. Meerkat has retired with a 24.533. But mind you, 10th right now is a 24.969. So there's only about 45 hundredths between Meerkat and being dropped out. Depending on how many people improve, Meerkat could see himself get squeezed out here. Torpedo now coming out onto the track. James John has come out onto the track. Now with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, all these drivers are only going to get, realistically, one shot at a proper lap to try and get in to the final round of qualifying. In the McLaren camp, Swister has yet to come out. Swister may realize that he can't do anything and might just be content with what he's got. I don't know why Samuel Pedia has come out for another lap. I think a 24.3 is good enough. I think if you're in the 24.4s or higher, you're good. But Samuel Pedia obviously does not feel that way. It'll be clean track for him as Zola comes into the pits to retire. Arctic Prodigy also is going to come into the pits, which means that for Jabez John, there's a big gap between himself and Robbie Deasy, and Deasy only has one car ahead of him that he may have to worry about. Can Jabez John second? Oh, and Swister has crashed. Swister has crashed in the hairpin. The turn 5 hairpin. Right on his outlap. And that's likely going to keep him from being able to get a lap in here. Bad luck for Swister. That front wing is gone. And with only a minute and 5 seconds left, yeah, that's it for him. He's not going to get another shot at this. Jabez John is up by nearly 2/10 in Sector 1 alone. That sort of improvement would lob him up into 10th at least, but he needs to find more time because Torpedo is out on track. Airmax and DZ are also on track. So the time he has to chase is getting farther and farther from him. 41 seconds left. Airmax is invalidated, so Airmax cannot go any faster. Robbie Deasy, clean track ahead for the Mercedes. What can he do? Out of the final corner for the Mercedes of Robbie Deasy. He'll set a 124.567. That's good enough for 7th. Airmax is on the bubble. Jabez John and Torpedo are trying to break in. And Zola could find himself getting squeezed out as well. Out of the final corner for Jabez John. It'll be a 124.555. That's good enough for 7th. He's in. How about Torpedo? Will he knock Zola out? He's in, and Zola is out. Torpedo is in, and Zola is out. Samuel Pedia goes off in the final chicane, but it doesn't matter. Session is all over. And in the end, the drivers that do not advance, AVS fans, Swister 1987, SRD Shredder, Airmax 8841, and XRL Zola. And an Arctic Prodigy set his fastest lap on the medium tires, interestingly enough. Now, he did use up a set of sauce, but Prodigy definitely has a bit more speed in that car. But at the top, it looks like Jacob is going to be unassailable at the top. So there's your time spread. The top 10 all within 8.85 hundredths of each other. But realistically, the fight's going to be for second because Jacob is over half of that gap is just between Jacob and Pellet, between first and second. So yeah, it looks like Jacob's going to take home this pole without issue, assuming he doesn't have a accent or something. All right, first driver's out on track. This time it's going to be Mantic Meerkat. He's joined by Arctic Prodigy, and then behind him it is X Hits the Spot. So relatively calm opening moment here for Q3. Finally, we're seeing another driver come out. That will be the Mercedes of Robbie Deasy. Only one Mercedes makes it out, makes it down to the final round qualifying. Meerkat sets the initial time of the session, 24.622, and Prodigy now shows us a 25.255. Now the focus goes to X, but X has invalidated this lap, so he's going to have to go again. So the focus then goes to Robbie Deasy. He'll be the third driver to set a time in the session. He's not really utilizing very much ERS going down the back straightaways. Don't really know what's going on there. And after him, I believe the focus goes to Samuel Pedia and then Jacob. Jacob basically guaranteed to get pole position as long as he doesn't make any stupid mistakes. Samuel Pedia heading down the back straightaway right now. The first of the two back straightaways right now. Down to it now. Samuel nearly out of fuel at the end of his lap. X hits a spot, goes to the top, 24.111. Samuel Pedia, 24.243. And now Jacob takes pole at 23.546. And considering that no one else has gotten to the 23s thus far today, it's more likely that will be pole position for good. Here comes Pelly. .947, so Pelly is the second driver to get into the 23s today. And that is a Mercedes around. That is Deasy, who's had an incident in Sector 3. He's pushing a lap now, though. But waited a long time to do that. He's nearly out of ERS. This is just weird. He will abort into the pits, though. Sha'Carri, Davis, John Torpedo, all still in the pits. So track's going to be a little bit calm for a bit. Only 4 drivers on track, and all 4 of them are on cooldown laps right now. So the question now becomes who will be the first to get back onto the circuit for their final attempt. Takes you about 4.5 minutes to do an out lap, flying lap, and in lap. Actually, a little bit less than 4.5 minutes, but you can basically say 4.5 minutes. So if timed perfectly, you could get 3 attempts at laps here. So the track goes quiet. The final 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Who will be the first to come out? I see movement in the Mercedes camp. Robbie Deasy might be trying to come out now and beat the rush. There's movement in the Ferrari camp as well. That would be Arctic Prodigy. So yes, it will be Robbie Deasy and Arctic Prodigy who will be the next drivers to come out onto the circuit. No other movement on track right now, so it's just these 2. Alright, so DZ now begins his lap. Track ahead, you will see Pelly coming out of pit lane, but once he's by him, the gap should be large enough that what shouldn't matter, and DZ will have clean track. Roughly half the field on circuit now. Top speed for the Mercedes, 205 miles an hour at the end of the straight. What about Prodigy? Prodigy's a little bit farther back on the circuit. Actually, I'm a little bit more curious, honestly, about DZ's splits and how much faster he's going. 10 seconds up. Prodigy gets to a top speed of 206 down the straightaway. I also wonder how much faster Prodigy will be at the end of Sector 2. If you're not coming out to the track now, you better already be on it. And yes, as I say that, all 10 drivers will be on track here at the end of this session. BRT Jacob likely to lock up the pole position. The fight is for second between Pelly and X hits the spot, with Sha'Carri, Jamestown Torpedo being potential wild cards in this. Robbie improved up to a 24.206. That would be fourth best at the moment. But everyone is trying to squeeze out some extra time right now. Prodigy will cross the line with a 24.160. That's good enough for fourth now. Moving ahead of DZ. Now focus, or me at least, goes to Javis John. There are 2 Red Bulls ahead of him. And it's just enough. I think John timed it well enough that if he does make a mistake here, he can back off and recharge just a little bit of ERS for another proper flyer. Final corner. So for Davis John, he'll set a 124.392. That's only good enough for 7th right now. Jacob beginning his flyer. Meerkat coming across the line now. He moves up to 7th, 24.244. What of X? He's going to give it to us. 48. That was not a good lap at all. He'll need to try again. DZ is out of fuel and will have to bring it into the pits. Well, he'll stay out because time's up. Over. Plow. Samuel Pedia will be the next across the line. He's up by about a quarter of a second. That would be enough to bolt him ahead of DZ and Arctic Prodigy and Hex's spot if he keeps it together. He's in at 23, so the 23.820. What of Pelly? He's invalidated. He's not going to go any faster. Meerkat's out of fuel, out of ERS as well, so it's not looking any better for him. What of Jacob? Doesn't really need to push. No one can match Jacob's time around here. I say that, though. The McLarens in the X3 race were the team to beat, and they only brought 1 car home on the podium and did not even cross the line first. So the race is still to be decided, but it looks like qualifying will go in Jacob's favor. Will he go any faster, though, at the very end here? 123.139, that's a full second faster than the time that we saw in X3's pole position. John only is able to come home 9th. Torpedo and Sha'Carri only come home 8th and 10th. Meerkat will come into the pits here and in his lap exits the spot, 24.036. And there's your results. Sha'Carri did not put together a good lap at all. He will be 10th, way off of everyone's time. And in the end, Jacob over 2/3 of a second faster than the next fastest man. All right. So we now wait to get underway for the race itself. Championship stands as they are right now for X2. At the bottom, in the manufacturers, is McLaren with 116 points. Ninth is Aston Martin with 117. Then it's a jump to a three-way fight for sixth. Eighth is Mercedes with 182 points. Seventh is Williams with 185. Sixth is Ferrari with 186. It's another jump. Fifth is AlphaTauri with 208 points. Fourth is Haas with 231. Third is Red Bull with 240. Second is Alfa Romeo with 258. And leading is Alpine very decisively with 302 points right now. The top three all could still go to anyone in the top four realistically, but well, even top five mathematically, but realistically, I think it's going to just be a matter of Alpine opening up the gap on Red Bull and Alfa Romeo enough so they can lock it up early. Drivers' Championship. 18th is XRL Edgar with 2 points. Jess Sweden is 17th with 3 points. Robbie Deasy is 16th with 5. XRL Ollie is 15th with 7 points. XRL Low is 14th with 13 points in his favor. 13th is Arctic Prodigy with 19 points, which brings him into a tie with Adam KH158. He is 12th. 11th is Samuel Pia with 31 points. 10th is Rimsco with 48 points. 9th is CMP Official with 57. 8th is XRL Young with 69 points. Nice. 7th is Aeromax 8841 with 72 points. 6th is XS Spot with 83. 5th is XRL Shakir with 91 points. 4th is XRL Strider with 94. He is still technically within championship range, but that is likely to fall away today unless Pelly crashes out. James John does not move away with the points lead, and Shredder takes home maximum points. Third is XRL Trapio with 105 points. He is also still mathematically in championship contention, but that also is likely to end today as well. The two real title contenders are second and first. Second is James John with 172 points, and first is XRL Pelly with 195. All right, here we are as we load onto the circuit, and we'll get to see what everyone's tire choice is. This is interesting. BRT Jacobs starting on the mediums. Samuel Pita starting on the hards. XRL Pelly starting on the mediums. XS Spot starts on hards. Arctic Prodigy in the Ferrari starts on soft tires. He is baying on early yellow flag to jump onto hards and then run to the end of the race on those, I imagine. Robbie DZ in 6th on hards, as is Meerkat and Torpedo behind him. James John in 9th is starting on mediums, so matching Pelly's pace, Pelly's strategy. Shikari is starting 10th on hards. Zola is starting 11th on hards. Airmax is starting 12th on mediums. Shredder starting 13th on hards. Sweester starting 14th on mediums. AVS Fan and CMP Official both are starting the race on hard tires. All right, 16-car field coming up to their spots on the grid. I'm sorry I've been a little bit quiet for the last few minutes. I had a race that was supposed to take place right after this one, and I've just gotten word very recently that I got postponed, so to another date. So with that in mind, I will not be here. I mean, I will be here with no rush or anything to the end of this broadcast and the end of this race. All right, as we see the field lined up, and we see the lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. It is lights out, away we go, and Samuel Pedia had a horrible start, cannot get off the line at all. He falls all the way back to 5th position off the start, falls all the way back to 7th. It's been a horrible start, and there's a car that's gone around farther back. A bunch of drivers near the back have gone around. Jacob has opened up a significant advantage on Pelly, and Prodigy has already moved up into the 3rd position. We stay green for the moment, but another car has gone around farther back. That is James John, 2nd in the championship. James John has spun out of turn 4. And this is exactly what Pelly wanted to see, as he is 2nd, and his title rival is back to last position now. Arctic Prodigy runs in 3rd. On the soft tires, he should be a little bit faster than the 2 cars ahead. How aggressively is he going to push? He's laying on the ERS. He's got to run in the draft, but he's not in a position to do anything. He lays off the ERS, but he does have an ERS advantage over the 2 drivers ahead. Pelly has an advantage over Jacob right now. So now these cars are going to naturally handle a little differently than the way they did in qualifying, because they have different tires on, and they have a much, much heavier fuel load. Everyone in the top 11 all still relatively close to each other. Shredder went from 13th to 8th on that start. An AVS fan already has a time penalty for track violations. Jacob trying to open up the gap on Pelly. Arctic Prodigy wants to get by at least one, if not both, of these drivers ahead as soon as possible. Soft tires are his best way to do that. He still has an ERS advantage over the top 2 as well. Zola has gone around. Zola has gone around. Shikari has gone around as well in turn 1. Zola and Shikari have had incidents in turn 1. This will promote James John up into 13th. And Airmax is in the pits, recovering from his lap 1, turn 1 accident. As the top 3 goes down the back straightaway, Pelly has burned up alive his ERS, trying to get around Jacob. Pelly to the outside. Jacob, he's got his nose ahead for just the briefest of moments. They'll be side by side as they go through the corner. And Pelly is now ahead of Jacob, and Jacob's trying to come back with the crossover. Prodigy has a run. Exits the spot, has a run. The top 4 are all on top of each other as they come down to the braking zone. Contact between the top 2, and Pelly is around. And Pelly makes contact, and X goes to the top now. And Pelly falls all the way down to 4th, maybe even 5th. Mantic Meerkat is now behind Pelly. And it exits the spot in the lead, and Prodigy still hangs out in 3rd. On the soft tires, no yellow flags at this stage in the event. I'm sure Prodigy would love to see a yellow flag drop in about 2 to 3 more laps so he can jump onto the hards to the end of this race. X now sets the fastest lap of the day, and Jacob is behind him, and Arctic Prodigy is giving him pressure. Also, DRS will now become a factor. Oh, Jacob not in DRS range of X hits the spot. And Prodigy will be in DRS range of the lead of the top McLaren. Well, no, it is the top McLaren on the grid. So Prodigy has a run. Jacob defends the inside. Prodigy goes to the outside. He's by. Not close enough to get DRS off of X hits the spot. So Jacob could try and get the crossover. Prodigy using his ERS to pull away from Prodigy. And yes, Jacob could not do anything. Now Pelly's trying to fight back. And Shredder is in 7th, sees the fight ahead. Normally Shredder burns through all of his ERS very early on, and DZ has had a spin. DZ has had a spin out of that early Sector 3 sweeper and falls out of the points. That puts Samuel Pedia up into 10th. Behind CMP official and ABS fan. But watch this fight up front, because Arctic Prodigy on the soft tires is now coming down on X hits the spot. So Prodigy making good use with those softs early on, but he will have to pit sooner rather than later, and when he pits, he'll likely end up going to nearly the back of the field. But he is absolutely making hay in that Ferrari right now. Problem is, Prodigy is just about out of ERS. But here's the other thing, X's spot is already low on fuel right now. And here's this fight for third. Pelly to the outside of Jacob, but Pelly is out of ERS. Jacob holds the inside, it will be side by side for a position. Meerkat is there watching them as they make contact again. It's the second time they made contact side by side. Meerkat's gonna go around the outside, they're 3 wide for a third place position. Pelly backs out of it, Meerkat's coming around the outside of Jacob. They'll be side by side in the corner, very nearly making contact, and Meerkat is going to maybe make this stick. They make a little bit of contact coming out of the corner, and Meerkat now overtakes the car that he drives in the X3 series. And this brings Torpedo up into the fray now. Shredder has fallen off the back of this fight. He's not within DRS range of any of these drivers at the moment. No DRS on the front straightaway under this current layout. Pelly putting pressure on Jacob, but Pelly is running his ERS almost dead empty. He will have DRS on the following straight though. The other thing to consider is that Jacob is still close enough to get DRS off of Meerkat and can use that as a defense. At the front, Prodigy, still within DRS range of X's the spot, but I think right now he's not as focused as moving forward as he is of just maintain his position and stretching these soft tires out as long as he can. For third position. No, they're closing on Meerkat, but not fast enough. Here comes Pelly, took us the inside, and Jacob can't make it stick, though. And Shredder is now within DRS range of the drivers ahead. He's running a low wing setup, so he'll be dead fast on the straight as well. He might be able to outrun Torpedo. And he does. Shredder already up into 6th now. Oh, but that car is not happy at all in the sweeper. And Torpedo will get the position back, or will he? Acceleration favors Shredder. He has the inside line. Yes, Shredder holds the position for now. And Jacob's actually closing back in on Meerkat just a bit. Yellow flag farther back. And that's Samuel Pedia. James John has worked his way back into 11th though, but not in the... Oh, and that's a full course yellow. Yellow flag is out after Samuel Pedia's spin. And this is what Arctic Prodigy wanted to see for sure. A lot of drivers farther back are probably going to make some stops as well. ABS fan's going to make a stop. James John is going to go ahead and make a stop as well. This will probably drop those two near the back, if not the very back. Shikari is going to stop. But the most important thing is that Arctic Prodigy is now going to be able to get off these soft tires. A great initial start in this race. He'll be able to get back onto the track with hards that can probably go to the end. He'll have to be a little bit careful, but this will be good news for him strategy-wise. The only problem is he's probably going to fall back to 10th, so he'll be in the middle of the field, the thick of the fight pretty much, and that won't help him. Exits the spot, will lead over Mantic Meerkat. Will BRT Jacob or XR Pelly in 4th and 5th make their pit stops? Right now, this race is going in Pelly's favor, though. It's doing exactly what it needs him to for him to walk out of here with a decent run in the points. Extend his points lead and try to lock up the title, maybe a race early if at all possible. Also for X, this means that he will not have to worry as much about fuel now with this yellow flag. Field's very spread out right now. Also, this will really help out Air Max, who is dead last. He will be able to stay on the lead lap. Who in the lead pack comes in and pits? Exits the spot, is going to pit out of the lead. Arctic Prodigy is joining him. Meerkat is going to pit out 3rd. Jacob will stay out on track on those mediums as Pelly comes in. So it's going to be Jacob and Shredder who will be at the front of the grid. This actually works out moderately well, I'd say, for Arctic Prodigy. Because he's still going to be near the front of the grid. CMP Official goes up to 3rd. Sweester goes up to 4th. Robbie Deasy is far enough ahead to move up into 5th or 6th. Yeah, Deasy's going to be right between X and Arctic Prodigy. But again, Prodigy now has tires that he can take to the end of this race without issue. He may be 7th, but it's not as bad as 10th. Arctic Prodigy maybe positioned himself to win this race early on. Farther up the grid, though, it is now BRT Jacob who leads once again. And it will be SRD Shredder who's come from the back all the way up to 2nd now. And Shredder has a very low downforce setup. He might try to dump ERS to overtake the McLaren down the front, or not down the front, but down the 2 back straightaways. We're probably not going to go green until about lap 9. Top 10 already all gathered up. AVS fan is back there in 11th. It's going to take him a while to catch up. So Bert Jacob is still overfueled by nearly 3 laps. Shredder does not have that problem. Also, Shredder will be a little bit lighter and nimbler. CMP Official is right at fuel numbers pretty much, within the hundredths at least. Sweester is slightly overfueled. Exits the spot is actually back into good position when it comes to his fuel numbers, as is Robbie Deasy. Arctic Prodigy is slightly overfueled. Antic Meerkat is slightly overfueled. Pelly still is overfueled as well, by a little bit more than the drivers ahead. Again, the weight differences won't matter as much now, but if you look at the situation up front, Shredder we're looking at Shredder. He has only about 2/3 of an extra lap worth of fuel, while Jacob is over 3 laps, so Jacob will be extremely overweight compared to Shredder. That will be where the biggest difference is. Now, Jacob will be having softer tires, so they have a lot more wear on them. Shredder is on harder rubber. He can push Jacob for a lot longer. And again, Jacob has a more downforce-focused setup than Shredder, so Shredder, if he can survive the first 4 corners, will be able to outrun him, or at least match him in straight line speed to the line, and Shredder is known for dumping in a straight line. Everyone with the exception of Airmax has caught up. Airmax still has yet to navigate the first few corners, but we should be going green coming on to lap 9. Thus far, only Torpedo has a time penalty for track violations thus far. All right, so we should be going green this lap. Yep, there we are, safety car in this lap. BRT Jacob will lead the field on the restart. How does Shredder respond? Because if Jacob catches Shredder off guard, Shredder's top speed may be all for nothing. And the championship fight, Pelly is 9th, but he's still in the points paying position while Jabaston is not. On the restart, Shredder was not caught out and aware by Jacob. Jacob maintains the top 3 getaway is Sweester, who really ends up losing out the most, and Mantic Meerkat is already by Arctic Prodigy. Meerkat's already by 1 driver, and Shredder spins in the first few corners. And that will take Shredder out of the race-winning contention. Exits the spot, now under threat from Sweester and Deasy, because X had to let off, and that means that Jacob leads with nobody fighting him. It looks like Jacob now is going to walk off with this without issue. The fight is for 2nd. Official in 2nd, X right behind him, but not able to make a move yet. Farther back, Meerkat makes a move on Deasy. And he's by him, a little bit of contact, but Daisy has lost position. Meerkat is now up into the 5th position. So while Shredder was not caught unaware by Jacob, he was caught unaware by his car's super low downforce setup. X putting pressure on CMP Official because X has faster and fresher tires than the 2 cars ahead. Makes a little bit of contact through this hotel section. Looks to the inside. You don't really want to be going side by side here unless you absolutely have to. Although we have seen overtakes be done here. On to the front straightaway now. And Robbie Deasy has had his spin. And Deasy falls all the way back to 15th now. It hard into the inside wall, and that car does not seem to be going. Second and third stay right on top of each other. Oh my goodness, X has a big, gigantic run. He's got to look to the outside of the Mercedes, and farther back, Meerkat's got to get around Sweester. Sweester loses position to Meerkat now. Meerkat now sees the second and third place cars ahead, and he wants a piece of that fight. Official trying to defend. X not really in a position to do anything against him right now. DZ gets disqualified because he was not able to get his car moving. Here comes X, trying to make an overtake without DRS. Really closes in the twisties. And all this is letting Jacob scoot away a bit. But Jacob very heavily overfueled compared to the drivers behind him. So that will put extra wear on his tires as this event goes on. Oh wow, the Alpine trying to make a move on Official in a corner. And Meerkat is there. Meerkat is faster than both these two ahead. And DRS will now come into play. And Meerkat gets a time penalty. That was bull crap, but I believe it. That's how this game works. Really bizarro, uber strict or uber relaxed track limits. Oh my goodness, Meerkat to the inside of X, hits the spot, and he'll get him on exit, but X has the better acceleration. Now DRS now comes into play. CMP Official defends the inside. X now goes to the outside. Should be an overtake. It is. He gets the position. But now CMP Official will have DRS in the subsequent straightaway. But it may not matter because Official's worn hard tires are not letting him keep pace with the car ahead. Also, Official is almost out of ERS. He is out of ERS now. CMP Official has run himself out of ERS, trying to stay ahead of that Alpine, and now he is at risk of maybe being overtaken by Meerkat. Meerkat came home second in the X3 race after taking pole. He would love to steal another podium today, but he has got a torpedo behind him. Everyone in the top 14 all right on top of each other, and X's spot is actually running down Jacob because Jacob is so heavily overfueled right now. And Jacob has worn tires. Here comes Torpedo looking for a move on Meerkat because Meerkat was being held up by that Mercedes so much. Side by side into turn one. Trying the crossover. Meerkat runs wide out of one. And he will lose the position to make a bit of contact. Meerkat, I don't think he was within DRS range of Official under braking. At the front, Jacob trying to keep X behind. X has the inside and DRS and ERS. Jacob can't keep the Alpine behind. The Alpine goes to the top spot now. But look at this fight for second, third, fourth, and everything on back. Oh, that's a mess. Arctic Prodigy would like to get out of this without damaging the car, but he's losing so many positions that he might not be able to benefit from his tires that should last to the end because he's just not fast enough to fight. Pelly has fallen out of the points paying positions, and now he has James John, his title rival, behind him. So as they stand right now, Torpedo would barely be able to keep his championship. Oh, wow, that's a Williams around. That's Samuel Pedia right in front of our championship leaders. So that puts Pelly back in the points paying positions. Both of them are burning through their ERS right now. I think Pelly is better. It has a better fuel weight ratio right now than John. CMP official losing the position to Meerkat, coming out of the final coming onto the back straightaway. But Meerkat has DRS, and here comes Torpedo on both of them. They're having 3 wide for a position. 3 wide, and in the end, it is Torpedo who nicks them both. But now, here comes CMP official on the Red Bull. He's got DRS. He goes to the outside now. Contact between the two of them. Under braking. And now AVS Fan, where did he come from? AVS Fan is in contention now. And Meerkat's falling all the way back to 7th. Outside of X, who is walking away, and Jacob, who is trying to walk away, everyone from 3rd all the way back to 13th are all kind of within a giant DRS mess with each other. That's a McLaren pitting, and Jacob's pitting as well. So the McLarens are going to double stack. I think the gap is just big enough between them that won't hurt them too much. So Torpedo now moves up into 2nd, 5.4 seconds behind X, hits the spot. Oh my goodness, AVS Fan dives to the inside, CMP official. Can't make it stick. Here comes Shikari now. Shikari will have DRS, and he's laying on the ERS at the moment, but he's going to be out of ERS by the time they get to the 2nd back straightaway. They're side by side ahead of him. AVS Fan now ahead of official using DRS. Crossover potentially through the chicane? No. But official has DRS now to fight back with. But official out of ERS himself now. Goes to the outside of the Aston Martin. Can't make it stick. Tries the crossover. He's blocked. Arctic Prodigy and Mantic Meerkat fighting for position for 6th as well. For the moment, that goes to Prodigy. Oh, and that's a Mercedes that's gone around. That's official. Out of the top 3, he has spun. And now Pelly and James John both are in the points paying positions in 7th and 8th. So the advantage is still to Pelly. That's the alpha of Meerkat who pits. He wants out of this mess. Official spins again. Pelly now up to 6th. James John in 7th. Both of them are on tires that will make it to the end of this race. So John has to get by Pelly on track if he wants to start closing that points gap down. And Arctic Prodigy is in 5th, in position to potentially win this race because the top 4 all still need to pit. AVS Fan has DRS on Torpedo ahead. But AVS Fan is running himself low on fuel. So that could end up being an issue for the Aston Martin. 13th, 14th, 15th have all made their stops now, and at this rate, Shredder might end up going a lap down. Again, we look at this fight for the championship. Pelly ahead of James John at the moment. Both of them behind Prodigy. Oh, big twitch by John. And he'll actually lose some time to Pelly. That brings Air Max into the fray against him. Top 4 all stay out for another lap. AVS Fan, low on fuel, but he can still push against Torpedo. Big slide by Torpedo going into turn 2. And AVS Fan is closing again. for 5th. This is the fight for what will become the race win. Pelly has gapped himself away from James John a bit and is now pressuring Prodigy. But both of these drivers, the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri, are running themselves near empty on ERS. ABS fan still trying to make something happen on Torpedo, but he does not have the straight line speed to catch the Red Bull even with DRS-ERS combination. Red Bulls run 2nd and 4th right now, but both of them have time penalties. The fight for the win is currently the fight on track for 5th. John has lost touch with Pelly and Prodigy. And that is AVS fan who is coming into the pits out 3rd. John has completely lost touch with Pelly at this stage in the event. Pelly fighting with Prodigy for what will become the race win once our top 3 drivers on track pit. Swiester gets a time penalty back 3rd and 11th. Arctic Prodigy may have the best strategy, but Pelly is pressuring him hard. Second and 3rd see each other on the racetrack right now. And mind you, these 2 drivers are going to have to stagger their stops if they don't want to compromise each other's times. And Pelly's gotten by Prodigy. Pelly has gotten by Prodigy. That will give him the race win if we stay green. And that's exactly what Pelly needs to further his gap on the points. Yellow flag. Is that Samuelpedia? Yes, Samuelpedia's had a spin in the chicane, but we stay green. Our top 3 stay on track for another lap. Zola pitting now of 8th. So that'll move Jacob up to 9th. But Jacob is not on the right strat. He is not likely to be able to factor in for this race win. The fight's going to be between Pelly and Prodigy. And I hate to say it to Prodigy, but it looks like yellow flag is out. Yellow flag is out on the track. Samuelpedia, 4 spins in a row. The front wing is gone. I think he's melted the rear tires. Oh, and he's out. So that means the entire field gets a chance to make a stop. And this should put Pelly into the lead of this race now, because our top 3 drivers will pit. Although it will be iffy because under yellow flag, obviously these drivers aren't going to be as fast. But I think Pelly is close enough to X that he will leapfrog him on the track. Here comes X now. If X still ends up with the lead after this, I'll be very shocked. But that could be enough to guarantee X a victory. As our top 3 are all pitting, this will really not help Shikari at all. Torpedo was ahead of Shikari, so Torpedo gets priority, but they're going to end up double stacking in the Red Bull camp, and that's really going to harm them. Everyone in the top 7 are all pitting. Jacob, will he pit out of 8th? No, he'll stay out on track, but how many positions is this actually going to gain him? Carey now behind Arctic Prodigy and Pelly. Jacob goes all the way up into 3rd by the looks of it. And X will still hold the race lead. So it is now a fight between X Hits a Spot and XRL Torpedo and BRT Jacob. It looks like X is the dominant one in this fight. When it comes to the Drivers' Championship, though, things have really taken a shakeup, because James Shawn is back in 8th and Pelly is in 4th with no time penalty. So Pelly is still poised to extend his championship lead. CMP Official putting on a new front wing, so something happened to Official. That may have actually been the cause of the yellow and not Samuelpedia. And this will drop him to last, but he'll have softs. I guess he's going to try and make the softs go to the end. Bold strategy, Patton. Let's see how that works. Let's see how it plays out. But Jacob, heavily overfueled by 4.5 laps and on worn hard tires. Although he has some of the best pace on track, he's going to be a sitting duck to the drivers behind him. ABS man still has a overall advantage when it comes to fuel. Now, he did run himself nearly out earlier. But yeah, ABS man will be nice and nimble because he is actually right on the level of maybe not having fuel to make it in. So he will be faster than everyone else just because the car will be so much nimbler. Same thing with Air Max by the looks of it. Same with Shredder. The problem with Shredder is that he's running such a low downforce setup, he can't actually fight for any positions. So it looks like it will be X fighting Torpedo, Jacob, Pelly, and Prodigy for this race win. But in this fight, I think X has a very definitive advantage. No time penalties, fresher tires, and clean air ahead. Should be going green this lap, I think, because CMP Official has finally caught the back of the field. Yep, so we'll be going green lap 21, so it will be 9 laps to go. More than enough time for DRS to kick in, more than enough time for tires to start falling off. Maybe in the case of ABS fan, he may have to worry about tire degradation. But these mediums will make it to the end, as will Jacob's hards, but Jacob is going to be on tires that, while they'll make it to the end, he's not exactly going to be fast to the end. So exits the spot, leads the field. How does Torpedo respond? And more importantly to anything else, I would argue, how does Pelly tackle this restart? He is well ahead of James John on track. And wow, exits the spot, completely catches Torpedo off guard. We are already underway. AVS fan sees Shikari giving him pressure through 1. Oh, and Miramax has crashed out. Turn 1, we stay green. Jacob Pelly fighting for 3rd. Pelly goes into the podium positions now. And Shredder gets by Mantic, Meerkat, and Zola with that incredible low downforce setup. He's just so much faster than everyone else. He gets hit by Zola. Zola backs out of it. Now Zola falls back to 12th. Shredder is back into the points paying positions. Prodigy trying to make something happen on Jacob. He goes around Jacob without issue. And now Prodigy trying to make it stick side by side. Don't want to be side by side through this section of the track. Prodigy is by Jacob. Jacob now falls to 5th. But Exodus' spot has run away by more than 2 seconds away from Torpedo. Pelly is in position to walk out here with the 2nd place finish, maybe. It's an Alpine that's out in front, but it is not the Alpine that I think they wanted it to be. It is X instead of Jabus. Right now, the championship hopes are kind of falling apart for Jabus. Prodigy runs behind Pelly. He's already almost totally burnt out all his ERS. The 3 drivers ahead are all much better balanced on ERS. AVS Fan now making a run on Jacob. This is where he gets very interesting. Fan looks to the inside, does not go for the move though. But it'll, and again, DRS isn't in play now, but it will be shortly. Here comes Shredder. He's got to run on Sweester. And he'll outrun the number 2 McLaren into the sweeper. Shredder now up into 9th. Arctic Prodigy now sees Pelly. So does Prodigy try to get by Pelly. Pelly got by him earlier on the circuit. And DRS is going to be in both of their favors, so it's not going to exactly work in Prodigy's favor. Yellow flag, CMP official farther back on the field. Damages the front wing, so this will likely trap them at the back of the grid. Owen Jacob has lost now 2 positions to both AVS Fan and Shikari. That car incredibly overweight, and with those hard tires, it has no pace compared to everyone around. Shikari trying to make something happen on AVS Fan now. Pelly closing in on Torpedo down the back straightaway. John now by Jacob. Shikari by AVS Fan in the braking zone. But AVS Fan will try the switchback. Can't make the switchback work, but he will have DRS. For Pelly on Torpedo. Pelly on the outside of the Red Bull. Can he make it stick? He's trying. Could not do it that time, though. And Shikari stays ahead of AVS Fan. You're still side by side. You don't want to be side by side through these corners. They make contact, and they both run each other off the circuit. And that's what Jabus wants to see, because now Jabus is in the play here. Oh, Torpedo has spun! Torpedo has crashed in turn 2! He's destroyed his front wing! That drops him out of the points! Pelly now in 2nd, John only in 6th! This is exactly what Pelly wanted to see! Everything's gone perfect for Pelly now! Shredder trying to keep Mantic Meerkat behind him now. Meerkat has DRS, but Shredder on that super low wing setup. Oh, wow. Shikari, AVS Fan side by side. Contact! Heavy contact! But James John had to back out to not hit them, so he can't really capitalize on any of this. Oh, Shredder has spun and hit the inside wall. He's out of it. He hit a bunch of drivers and other drivers have hit him. And that's a yellow flag. Shredder, with that low wing setup, lost control under heavy braking, and it is over. All right, so this brings us down to just 12 drivers, and check this out. X leads, but Pelly is now second, Prodigy is third, Jabez John is now going to be fourth, BRT Jacob is fifth, and everyone behind has soft tires. Coming to the party now is SRD Shredder. Shredder, go ahead, include your audio. Multiple spins, multiple incidents, and finally a massive accident. What happened, and what do you have to say about that run today? All right, well, after that massive accident, this will take you out of the fight for the championship for sure. Do you think you can at least recover in the remaining 3 races of the season at China, Portimao, and Miami? All right, well, shame to see you taken out like that. It looked like you were at least starting to make your way up to the field again before that accident happened. Hopefully things go better for you next week. So, X hits the spot, leads. Jabez John, X or Pelly is second, Prodigy is third, Jabez John is in fourth. But the wild card is going to be the fact, okay, that's weird, John has just let Jacob go by him. I don't know what's going on there. The wild card, though, is going to be a fact that everyone from 6th on back is on soft tires. An AVS fan is on soft tires with no time penalties. So he's going to be way faster than everyone ahead. The other thing to consider, though, is that we're probably not going to go green until lap 28. We're only going to have 2 laps and no DRS. So, yes, AVS fan is going to be way faster than everyone ahead, but I don't know how that's actually going to end up working out. All those drivers with time penalties, they all have 3 seconds. Shikari has 6 seconds. So yeah, those soft tires aren't really going to help them a whole lot. It's just going to be a matter of how many positions can AVS fan nick. And mind you, AVS fan has been in some of the most interesting fuel situations. He's only got 1.5 extra laps of fuel right now. Good Lord, John's almost at 4 laps. Jacob's at 6.5. Prodigy's at 4 3/4. Pelly is at almost 4 laps. And X has like 3 laps. So yeah, this is going to get really weird because Fan is going to be faster and nimbler by a significant amount than everyone ahead. But if AVS Fan makes a mistake and ends up being attacked by the drivers behind, then obviously it changes nothing, and that means the top 5 will have their own little fight. For some reason, Jacobs ended up ahead of Baston's ended up behind Jacob. So right now, Pelly is in position to earn 18 points. 15, 12. And John is in position to earn 10. So that would open the points gap back up to 31 points. If John can get by Jacob, it would be 6 points in Pelly's favor. So yeah, Pelly would still extend his points lead. Not as much as it was looking like earlier, but Pelly is still in position to walk out with a larger points lead. Safety car coming in this lap. As I said, it will be a 2-lap shootout to the end here. Exits the spot. Is your leader. How does Pelly respond? Only 12 drivers left on circuit, but it's very unlikely that Shikari will walk out of here with any points. So the fight, I think, is going to be, there's going to be a fight for, he fights for every position on track, basically, unless we have a massive accident that takes out like half the field here. I would hate to see that. I've seen dumb things like that happen before. Zandvoort, primarily, but I've seen it here. The second ever race I broadcasted was here in F1 2019 with a big accident, and Pelly did not get the restart that he wanted, but he is not under pressure from Prodigy either, so Pelly might just be able to bring it home in second. James John is already putting pressure on Jacob. The wild card is going to be AVS Fan. A big twitch by the McLaren there in fourth. Again, no DRS. It's all going to be what you can do. Smoke them if you got them. Torpedo gets by Mantic Meerkat for 10th position. Cabeston has a big run on Jacob here. He looks to the outside. Drag race for fourth. Crossover works in Jacob's favor, but Jacob is on very worn out tires on a very, very overfueled car. Now Jacob is under threat from AVS Fan. And Fan is by, up into fifth. Pelly is closing back in on X. Pelly, if he could win this race, it would be a great boon for his title hopes. But even coming home second would help, but John is in fourth. It would be an extension in the points for Pelly, but might not be enough, which is still 3 races left. Prodigy now has a time penalty in third. Prodigy with a time penalty in third. That means that John might be on the podium. Yellow flag farther back. That CMP official who's had a spin. Shikari now gets by Jacob. That McLaren, oh, accident farther back, that's Sweester. The McLaren of Sweester has had an incident. Lots of fighting here. It's the white flag, the final lap. Here comes Zola on Jacob, he's by. Now Torpedo fights on Jacob. Can't make it stick. For fourth, ABS Fan has a run on James John. Oh, the Aston Martin, big lockup into the braking zone. He thought of going for a dive, but locked up. But he's got a better exit. He's got more ERS. He's going to get by James John, I think. The soft tires are king right now in this scenario. ABS Fan is going to go up into a potential podium finish here. At the front, exits the spot, is going to walk off with the win. And with Meerkat coming home by the looks of it only in 11th, it's possible that Alfa Romeo is not going to bring home any points. Coming to the checkered flag. X, one last corner to go, and he will bring home another win for the Alpine team. Pelly will extend his lead in the championship fight. AVS Fan will come home third, and it will be Jameson in fourth, Prodigy in fifth, Zola sixth. No, but Jacob ends up in sixth, even with those worn-ass tires. Zola in seventh, Torpedo eighth, Shikari ninth, Sweester in 10th. Meerkat and CMP official will bring home no points. Alright, and that will bring us to an end here. First person to come into the party is going to be your race winner. X hits the spot. X, go ahead, include your audio. A fantastic drive today with a dominant victory. What do you have to say about that fantastic run today, X?
Well, qualifying didn't go that well for me. Went out on one of my laps. I think it was my last lap. So I qualified not as well as I wanted to, but the start went well, and I think I took the lead after, unfortunately, BRT Jacobs AI took out the leader at the time. But from there, it was just smooth sailing, really.
All right, a fantastic drive. This will also massively benefit your team in the Manufacturers Championship Do you think it's possible you guys wrap up this manufacturer title before the final race of the season?
Yeah, I do actually. Me and Jeebus are performing pretty well. And if we keep it up, yeah, we'll definitely lock it out. So.
All right. Great job out there, mate. Great drive. Definitely you can celebrate from that. That was a fantastic performance. Also, fastest lap of the race as well, so good job on that also.
Thank you.
All right, now one more driver I want to talk to is going to be XRL Pelly. Pelly, go ahead and include your audio. A very, very interesting day for you. At one point, you weren't in the points-paying position, and you come home in second and extend your lead into the title fight. What do you have to say about your run today? All right, so with this in mind, second place, so you should have about a 31, 29-point lead, somewhere around there. 3 races left in the season. Do you still think you have this title in hand? All right, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. Great job on bringing home a second place finish, mate. All right, we've not gotten any word from our fourth place finisher, Jay Baston. I do want to say real quickly to AVS fan, personally coming back from 15th to come home third after nearly running out of fuel twice in that race. Outstanding drive. Driver of the Day nomination for me. So great job there. Anyways, with that in mind, I've been your host for today's broadcast in St. Lear 13. This has been a fantastic race here. Championship is not over yet, drivers-wise. It could still go either way with 3 races left. So you can catch us next week. Until then, I've been your host in St. Lear 13. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.